Lab Addicts Music Group. Lab Addicts Music Group.
What's goody? What's goody? Goody. What's good, everybody? It's Tuesday, December 2 days before the holiday, Folly Day. 2 days before the Folly Day. Shouts out to everybody that's watching on Facebook, Instagram. Rumble is back.
Lab Addicts Music Group.
Twitch, and most definitely everybody right here on YouTube. Got to give thanks to the Most High for allowing us to see another day.
Lab Addicts Music Group.
Another sunrise, another sunset, another day, another chance to love on the people who we cherish. And I had another topic that I was going to talk about today, but something that is going on, something local that happened, and we're going to discuss it. We're going to discuss, excuse me, both sides of the coin. We're going to look at the side of the father who was exonerated today, and we're going to look at it from the side of the students. And this has been a very, very supercharged situation because Kentucky is a stand your ground state. Kentucky is a concealed weapon state. As well, you can wear your gun in a holster on the outside if you want to. But both sides of the situation have lost something. And we're going to talk about, basically today, we're talking about the situation at Kentucky State University, where there were two brothers who were on the baseball team. And I have some backstory. They were being bullied the entire semester. Belongings have been stolen, shoes have been stolen, PlayStations have been stolen. And people have just been bullied. Now, the father alerted administration to what was going on. And prior to going to campus to pick his sons up for the end of the semester, he notified the Department of Public Safety at Kentucky State University's campus. He went to campus to pick his sons up, and a group of boys tried to jump them with baseball bats and other things. And I have the video. I'm going to play the video, but there's a few videos I'm going to play. But with the Department of Public Safety officers, campus police officers standing there, not breaking the fight up, the father pulled his gun out and protected his children. And in the process of protecting his children, there was another student that was unalived. Two students were pew-pewed. One of those students was unalived. And the father, after he pew-pewed, put the gun down, put his hands up. Said, I did it. He was subsequently arrested and charged with murder. And originally his bail was set for $1 million. I think it was lowered to $100,000, or whatever the case, he bonded himself out. His family bonded him out. And today, the grand jury met and convened to decide whether there will be a trial. And the grand jury did not indict Mr. Jacob Lee Bard. They set him free and said that they didn't call it self-defense. They called it no true bill, and we're going to get to that. But basically, with this no true bill, I'm not sure if it's a verdict or not, Mr. Bard was set free. There will be no trial unless the district attorney refiles if they get more evidence or whatever it is. But there was a Facebook post. I'm not going to put it up. But depending on how you see the situation, depends on how you would post. And there were lots of different opinions on both sides. Lots of people saying that they would protect their babies. And I think all of that is understandable. You protect your children. You send your children to school. You want them to go to school to learn. You don't want them to go to school to get bullied and things like that. But we're going to look at everything. We're going to look at everything. And depending on if you're a gun owner or you're pro-gun or pro-NRA or not, you think that will probably go a long way into how you look at everything. But we're going to start with the facts. On December 9th, 2025, at or near Whitney M. Young Hall, which is a residence hall on Kentucky State's campus in Frankfort, Kentucky. 19-year-old DeJohn Darrell Fox Jr. was killed. Another student was shot and initially described as in critical condition. I think that basically he was upgraded. I'm not even sure if he's in the hospital anymore, but he was not unalive, but DeJohn Darrell Fox was unalive. The accused was Jacob Lee Bard, 48 years old, of Evansville, Indiana, and he was parent of the two boys who were being bullied. And they described it as isolated, but it's plain to see. And I'll show you all the videos if you haven't seen it. Probably only show it one time. But the defensive narrative that emerged was at the December 16th preliminary hearing. Bard's family reportedly had meetings with campus security. This is information. This is more information of what happened. Bard's family reportedly had meetings with campus security about getting an escort that day, like I said, due to the prior conflict involving Bard's son, described as a prior assault, bad blood. A detective testified Bard admitted on scene to being the shooter, which he did. You'll see it in the video. And the Commonwealth of Kentucky's position was essentially deadly force was not necessary. And the defensive position was self-defense and defense of others. Like I said, his bond was set at $1 million. Later, it was reported at $100,000, and he was released before the grand jury decision. Today, on December 23rd, 2025, a Franklin County grand jury declined to indict Bard on the murder assault charge, reported as a no true bill. Louisville media explained that a no true bill, as jurors concluded the prosecution did not show probable cause. Lexington 18 and other local reporters quoted defense counsel stating that the grand jury effectively accepted a self-defense theory and refused to indict him on any charges, not even the charge of having a gun on a college campus. They didn't charge him with anything, calling it the conclusion of the criminal case. Hey, Camille. Basically, essentially, it's over in the eyes of the court system. What a no true bill actually means in plain English. A no true bill means the grand jury did not find probable cause to move forward with the felony charges presented. The implications were no indictment, no felony prosecution on those presented charges right now. It is not a trial verdict and not the same as innocent. It is a charging decision at a lower evidentiary threshold than trial. Reporters noted the grand jury typically hears evidence presented by the Commonwealth, which can shape outcomes depending on what evidence is ready and admissible at that stage of the proceedings. It says proof problem. Even if something feels morally obvious to the public, the legal question is whether the prosecution can establish probable cause under Kentucky law with admissible evidence in a way likely to survive later scrutiny. The reported context involved an altercation and multiple students, which can create uncertainty about who posed what threat and when. So is it over? What will happen next? Because this is not, it's not a verdict. It's essentially, I, I'm at a loss. I'm not sure. This seems like limbo to me, but there it's not limbo because he's free. The current criminal case is described as effectively dismissed with no indictment returned. What is generally still possible in many jurisdictions, the prosecution can sometimes re-present a case if new evidence emerges. So essentially, the family will probably sue civilly, have a civil trial. And if you don't understand, it's like the OJ case where OJ was found innocent in the trial, but in the civil case where there's more leniency than a reasonable doubt, that's where he lost all his belongings in the civil court. And they say that the civil litigation can still occur. Wrongful death, negligence claims, like I said, which have a different burden of proof than criminal court. So it's lesser. As well, Kentucky State University can still face policy, security, and liability scrutiny, regardless of the criminal outcome. So it's family's probably going to sue Kentucky State University and say that even, I mean, it's a sad situation. Sad situation. But before we go any further, just to add context to it, like I said, I'm going to show this one time. But, let's see. And I think it's looped. So basically, this is the video of what happened. This is the video that WDRB, Fox 41 in Louisville, Kentucky show. So I'm not showing something that's on. Yeah, this is the news footage that they purchased from someone, from a student on campus. I don't think they have any sound with this, but you can see that there was a lot going on. One of the guys got a bat, and this is the dad. This is the dad right there. I'm not sure why the sound is not playing, but yeah, there was a lot of, and that right there is where the father pew when the guy ran out with the bat. And after he pew, run down and put his hands up. But you'll see the father over here. You'll see his hand go up. And if the video, I think they took the sound out because you can hear the pew. But basically, it was two shots. Pew one person and pew the other person. And then the campus police, whatever you want to say, I guess I think that's the campus police right there. So we would put his hands up and freeze. I don't really think it mattered to him at that point. He had done what he's going to do. Sad situation, but the question I'm going to ask, because I just a moderator, was the dad justified? One, to have a gun on campus, and two, to use deadly force in essentially a fist fight. One guy had a bat, but the bat is what turned it. He could. How do you all feel about this situation? How do you all feel about the grand jury not charging him with anything? I can see if he got off self-defense. I can understand it. But I think it's a federal crime to have a gun on a college campus. I could be wrong. Somebody please look at it. Should the father have brought a gun to move his son down? Now, he had all right to have a gun on. I'm saying, should he have bought a gun? Because Kentucky's a state where you can walk into a pawn shop and purchase a SK, rifle, shotgun, pistol. What's your ID? Walk right in the pawn shop and get it. What do you all say? Oh, there's nothing wrong with protecting. You're going to protect it. We understand. I don't think he should go to jail. I don't think he was. I think he was defending himself. I'm asking a question. Should he have even brought a gun to campus? Oh man, and these are teenagers, young men. Some of them could be. But are we numb to the fact that you can go to the campus? I'll be honest in saying that out of any of the parties, I believe that Kentucky State University is most at fault. Kentucky State University is most at fault. Because if this father called them and alerted them to what was going on, and if it can be proven, look bad on Kentucky State University. One, people are going to wonder if their children are really safe at Kentucky State University. Is that a fair question from parents who have children that they're paying or taking on loans to send their children? I don't think it's at fault. Is anybody at fault? Is this just a situation where it's just a bad situation and there's no fault? Is that what this is? There has to be some fault. Where does the fault lie? The university, the bullies, or the father? Or is everyone culpable? I was reading some of the comments, and we are a hardened society. Our hardened society that I hate to say this, but sympathize with themselves. A lot of people only sympathize with themselves. There's no sympathy for, I mean, I don't know. Yes, I agree that the father had the right to protect his children, but did he need a gun? Did he need a gun? Those are my questions. My questions aren't about right or wrong. My questions are necessary. Necessity. Is it necessary for a father to bring a gun on kids? So now are we going to have people bringing, when it's move-in day, you got to worry about somebody with a pistol on them, or move-in day or move-out day? There were so many campus shootings and shit. And some man on Brown's campus, I don't know how many people he killed. But he killed a bunch of people on Brown University's campus and then killed himself. What's crazy about this situation is somebody had seen him and called the police because he was acting erratic before the shooting. And someone questioned that man and called the police, and the police didn't do anything. Police didn't do anything. It's their fault. We know ultimately Kentucky State University is going to lose a lot of money. It's probably be best for them to try to sell right now. I want to try to settle with all parties involved. Just to the sooner that Kentucky State University can put this behind them, the sooner that they can get back to the business of educating young adults. What can Kentucky State University do to make families feel like it's a safe place to send their children? Or was this an isolated incident? Oh no. I just know that Kentucky is a stand your ground state. It's a concealed weapon state. And if somebody attacks you, you have the willful right to unalive somebody. He did that. father, I think it's safe to say that that moment when he pew pew students, that's gonna weigh heavy on him for the rest of his life. Or a lot of people was like, I wouldn't even lose no sleep over it. And that's what I mean by there's no sympathy. You can still sympathize with the person, the wrongdoer. Nobody is without sin. Got all these people to talk about church and religion, but there's no forgiveness in a lot of people. A lot of people don't have forgiveness in themselves. That's when we live in a cold world. Even though that young man was bullying and he got a mama, will say she should have taught her son better. Everything is clear in hindsight. But the father will probably have to do some type of counseling because it has to weigh heavy on you knowing protecting your children, but you took somebody's life. That's a heavy weight to carry. That's a heavy weight to carry. Then you got to think, just move, will that family just move away and be out of the limelight? Because that young man that he killed was from Indianapolis. You know Indianapolis like I know Indianapolis. Atlanta. What's going on, brother? That man's gonna have to look over his shoulder for the rest of his life, thinking that somebody from that other boy's family is gonna come back to get him. And for people to say he ain't going that crazy. So yeah, lives have changed forever. That dad is gonna have to look over his shoulder every time he goes somewhere. Time. But Kentucky State University, what do they have to say? I mean, they haven't said too much. The public relations people haven't said too much. I think that probably be a few students that probably aren't parents aren't going to let them go back. Well, I mean, I haven't really been keeping up with this, but I've been keeping up with it enough to know that I haven't seen Kentucky State's public relations people on the news assuring anyone of anything. It's just a sad situation. That things happened on campus to the point where dad felt like he had to bring a gun to protect his children. Think about that. Think about how bad it must have been for the dad to believe that the only protection, well, he let the university know, but he had to bring a gun. The situation that had been brought up to Kentucky State University on on a couple levels. Whatever it was ongoing to the point where the dad had to call at the end of the semester and ask DPS to be there with them. But it doesn't seem like the DPS officer did much of anything. And if it was as bad as the dad said it was, why would there only be one DPS officer? I said this wasn't the first time that this happened. They have been, basically terrorizing this kid. But I think it's the father gets to go home to his family. Father gets to go home to his family, but like I said, that's a hell of a crown to have to wear for the rest of your life. Took somebody's life. Sad situation. And like I said, it's even sadder that we, a society that has no sense. Send your children away to go to school to get an education. Come home in a casket. Life has changed. Her son, for whatever reason, they were and I'm not gonna belittle what they did. They basically attacked attacked they attacked the student's dad. They attacked the student's dad. I said we was gonna look at it from all angles. Not believing that the mom knew her son was a bully, or maybe she did. At some point, you have to teach children restraint. Everybody's not gonna fist fight, and a lot of these kids these millennials and the generation after, they not fighting. And it's evident that they are not fighting by the number of people who get shot on a daily basis in Cincinnati, Lexington, Dayton, Louisville, Indianapolis. You can cut any of their news stations on a daily basis, and they're not talking about people fist fighting in the streets. They're talking about people dead in the streets. I saw an article in the Louisville newspaper today where a 15-year-old girl was charged with murder of killing a 20-year-old boy. A 15-year-old girl killed a 20-year-old boy in broad daylight in front of a bunch of people. That people feel the only recourse they have in conflict resolution, judge, jury, execution. 10-year-old girl charged with murder. 20-year-old. That's the society we live in right now. I don't go out. I do go out. It's 30 and over, 35 and over. They talking about making a 40 and over. Because some of these 30-year-olds is crazy. Nah. I haven't, I've been to, yeah, the 21-year-olds is mad because it's 30 and over because they feel like now they can go out and they feel like the bar is getting pushed further because now it's a 30 and over club. But I mean, 30, you shouldn't, if you're 21 years old, you shouldn't be in the 30 and over club anyway. You should be in the club with the little young folks. Girls are killing people. Girls. A bunch of women with guns. A bunch of women with guns. That is the world we live in where women feel they have to carry guns. Gun culture. Don't fight. People don't fight, dust yourself off, lose, you shake hands, you live to fight another day. Hopefully you don't fight. Conflict resolution skills are at bare minimum. Tell this just from what happened at Kentucky State University. Where are the counselors? Where are the counselors that when this father went to the administration and said, my son is being bullied, he's being robbed? Where is anybody to help my son on this campus? He's getting terrorized. He's getting terrorized to the point where I feel the need to bring a gun when I'm moving my sons out of the dorm for the Christmas break for good. Where's the baseball coach? Where's the administration dropped the ball on this one? They still dropping the ball. Like I said, they don't have no public relations person out here getting ahead talking. They should have somebody they should have somebody on the news every day. They should be wanting to talk to the press every day to reassure parents that when you send your children back to Kentucky State after Christmas break, we guarantee they're gonna be. This is the step. This is the measures that we have taken to make. Ain't nobody said nothing. They'll figure it out when 600, 700 students don't return because they didn't address what happened. They didn't get ahead of it. Then they'll talk about it. There'll be some new rebranding and this was preventable. This was preventable. Casualties on both sides. Young man dead on this side, mother's never gonna talk to her son. And then the dad on this side, they got to live with himself for the rest of life, knowing that he took somebody's life. Or are we just so callous that taking a life is go to work the next day, eat lunch the same? I don't think. I don't think. I think that I think that the father is a different man because of that grief. He's out of his mind for a couple seconds. Let me see something. Okay, here's one of the videos that I'm going. Hey, Janae, how you doing? It's just a sad situation. I just said when he, he shot with his wife's pistol. Well, Jeanette, what happened? What happened today was he didn't get indicted. He's a free man. He was acquitted. I'm gonna play CBS News. It's already up there. Okay, here we go. This was last week.
Now, that was the story that was last week. I had another one. We got the one where they talk about the grand jury. But yeah, it's sad on both sides. Sad on both sides. And I'm gonna stick to that. I'm gonna stick to that. Sad on both sides. Yeah. It happened this afternoon. This afternoon is they said that they weren't going to charge me. And like I said, I don't feel like he should be charged. Because, like I say, according to the state of Kentucky, the law, it is a stand your ground state, and it is a concealed weapon state. And if you feel that your life is threatened, you have the right to use a pew pew. Do I agree with that?
But today, right, they decided there wasn't enough evidence to move forward with the case. WOK Wise Mass was in Frankfurt. Here at the Frankfurt. Offered this son and saying his son in the Western death and serious thing for him getting money to come down in the wrong way. So, with regard to still
It's playing weird. Hold on for 1 second. Hold on. Put a one up if it's clear when I play it this time. I changed it to a different mic.
tonight, the man arrested for deadly shooting at Kentucky State University is a free man tonight. Jacob Bard was arrested for shooting 2 students, killing 1. But today, a grand jury decided there wasn't enough evidence to move forward with the case. WOKY's Maas was in Frankfurt when the decision came down.
Here at the Franklin County Courthouse, a grand jury returned a no true bill in the case against Jacob Bard. This means he will not be indicted, the case is dropped, and he's free to go. The decision came down after the grand jury deliberated for 3 hours. Jacob Bard's attorney, Jonathan Danks, said he called Bard with the news.
They're overjoyed that he's back home, that this won't be hanging over his head anymore.
Bard was arrested December 9th after police say he shot 2 KSU students at an on-campus building. 19-year-old Dejan Fox was killed. Another student was injured. Bard, who is the father of 2 KSU students, was charged with murder and assault. But Danks says it was all in self-defense. He claims KSU and university police failed to address multiple armed and violent felonies against Bard's sons and other students leading up to the shooting. On the day of the shooting, Bard came to campus to get his sons and requested a police escort. But when they tried to leave, Danks says 20 to 30 people were there and began to attack his family.
Multiple people are on top of him, beating his head into the concrete with fists and feet. He's unable to pull the individuals off of his son, and seeing his son in imminent risk of death and serious injury, he did what any parent would have done in that moment.
Franklin County Commonwealth's attorney Larry Cleveland said he was conflicted over the case.
Felt that Mr. Bard could meet the requirements of theft of defense of others, but at the same time, a young man was killed and another young man was seriously injured.
A true bill isn't a declaration of innocence. It just means the jury didn't find sufficient evidence to indict him with the crimes in which he was charged. Bard had posted bond on Tuesday morning before the no true bill was returned, and now that bond will be repaid back to him. In Franklin County, Madison Elliott, WLKY News.
So yeah. So, and now he's got that hanging over his head that the county attorney could recharge him. Will they? I doubt it. I doubt it. And he got his bond back. Wow. I guess if you don't get indicted, you get the bond back. And this goes to the bigger, should everybody have a gun? It sounds like he didn't even have a gun. His wife had a gun. He took her gun. I think everyone should have the right to bear arms. I do believe that. But I don't think everybody should have a gun. I don't. In the UK, the general public does not have guns. In the UK, they don't have a lot of guns. A lot of stabbings. People get stuck up, get stuck. But they don't. The general public doesn't have guns. They didn't charge him. They didn't charge him with that either. That's a federal. That's what I. Now I understand. But I mean, like I said, people are going to wonder. They didn't charge him with taking a gun. Okay, oh man, I'm gonna take my gun with me. Everybody gonna have a gun. You're not supposed to have a gun on a school campus. But I guess they said multiple times they had been robbed. Like I said, they said that this little boy had been robbed, took his shoes, took his plate. Yeah, they said that they pulled a fire alarm for everybody and then went in this little boy's room and took his PlayStations They was terrorizing this little boy. And it seems like that he couldn't, he wasn't a fighter. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with not being a fighter. If my son, I'm gonna be honest, if my son get robbed and somebody take his shoes and then somebody take his PlayStation and the and I've let the administration know, I'm looking at it from both sides. Yeah, I'm probably gonna take my gun with me. These little boys then robbed my son, beat my son up, took the shoes off his feet, took his PlayStation. I would probably have a gun on me too. And like I said, this is a situation where so they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. But my thing is, I still don't think that, and I think if you asked Mr. Bard, he would say that he wished that he didn't have no gun on him. He took that gun. He didn't intend to use that gun. Well, I mean, I guess he did because he used it. So I can't say that he didn't. He used it. It's a bad situation. And like I said, to me, Kentucky State University is the most at fault. They had to know. This dad was contact. I guess they was like, got fend for himself. Well, now they're gonna have to cough up some millions. They're gonna cough up some millions for sure. Bard is probably gonna sue them, and they're most definitely gonna get sued by the mom of the boy who passed. So KSU is about to lose 2 lawsuits with punitive damages. Might not be no more K-State. That ain't funny. Yeah. These 2 lawsuits could break KSU. Because the two sons that were on the baseball team, they're gonna sue for mental anguish and the school not protecting them. Sue the baseball team, sue everybody. Because it seems like administration did not care. Sad situation, but hey, if I'm a dad and I didn't call and I didn't let these people know my son didn't been robbed. I didn't call y'all twice. My son didn't been robbed. They done took his shoes. They done took his PlayStation. And you all haven't done anything. My son he's just getting robbed. He's getting terrorized. I told you we was going to look at it from both sides. I'm a parent. Would I take a gun on campus? Probably not. Probably not. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they'll be bullies no more. I don't think they will be bullies any longer. You see one of your homeboys get pew-pewed and die right there in front of you. Make you look at life Make you look at life a little differently. Exactly. Just these little kids, they don't throw hands. They don't fight. They're not going to fight. They don't want to fight. These little kids will shoot before they will fight. These little kids, they don't want to. They scared to fight. You heard 20, but they listen to 21 Savage, and 21 Savage said he don't fight. I don't fight. Yeah, so if they listen to music where the dude say, I ain't fighting. They ain't fighting. It's terrible. Like I said, it's terrible. No conflict resolution skills. The counselors should have pulled them little boys and say, what's going on? What's going on? Seems like the administration didn't do, they kind of washed their hands of it. These is boys being boys. You can't do that now. And the only reason they probably wasn't shooting on campus was because, they said they had a drive-by. It was because they know that if they get caught on the campus, that's automatic expulsion. It's not too many schools is going to let you go there and you get expelled for having a pistol or a gun or something on campus. Sad situation. Sad situation. Like I said, it's bad on all sides. Because Mr. Bard, you killed somebody. You're gonna walk looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life. Because a lot of parents, if somebody do something to my kid, I'll go to jail for life. And he gotta live the rest of his life knowing that there's a parent out there, there's a family member, there's a cousin, there's a gang member. There's somebody out there that ain't gonna take this sitting down. Sad to say that. And I'm not condoning violence, but I'm just saying. He killed somebody's child. He's gonna have to look over his shoulder for the rest of his life. I think that the problem could have been solved before it got to this. That somebody lost their life and now he got to watch his life for the rest of his life. We're an hour and 10 minutes into the show. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the page. Share this video. Join the conversation. How do you all feel about this whole? How do you all feel? Was the dad justified? It's kind of hard to say that he wasn't justified, but I will say this: he had all the right to protect his children. I just don't think that he needed to have. I don't think he should have had a gun on campus. I know it's a lot of people out there that's probably going to disagree with me, but I don't think he should have had a gun on campus. You can't say that it's a federal law. It's not the federal law for students. It's the federal law for anybody to bring a gun on campus. And they didn't even charge him with that. Now, are you going to have somebody that's going to say, well, they didn't charge him, I'm going to take my gun because I feel like I got to protect myself? Yeah, the little boy's from Indianapolis. The little boy that got killed. They live in Indianapolis, and Mr. Bard and his family lives in Evansville. Two rough and tumble cities. Evansville, Indiana, and Indianapolis. Rough, tumble. Yeah, there's consequences. They should have. I 100% believe that. I 100, and I'm not. I feel like he should have been charged for that gun on campus because that's gonna open a conundrum. It's gonna open a conundrum because somebody else is going to bring a gun on campus because he didn't get charged. And he could have charged him. He could have shot probation and whatever. But they should have charged him because by not charging him, people are going to be brazen. By the state not charging him, somebody's going to bring a gun on campus. And the defense is going to be that man had a gun on campus, and he protected himself. You got to what? You didn't throw it out, so it's a statute. It's a statute. Well, I mean, they didn't take it to grand jury, so that's a law in every state. You cannot have a gun on campus. Hold on. Let me do it. What is the federal law about having a firearm on a college campus?
There isn't a single federal law about firearms on college campuses. State laws and individual university policies mainly control this, though federal law does recognize schools as places where guns can be restricted. Check your state and university rules, as policies vary greatly.
Supreme Court noted in District of Columbia versus Heller noted that schools are sensitive places where firearm bans are permissible, influencing state policies. Can you have a gun on a campus in Kentucky? In Kentucky,
generally, Kentucky public colleges and universities prohibit guns on campus property and in buildings. However, those with a concealed carry license can store their firearm in a private vehicle. For legal advice, consult a professional.
what is the penalty of having a gun on campus in Kentucky?
In Kentucky, possessing a weapon on elementary, middle, or high school grounds is a Class D felony. For colleges and universities, each institution decides its own penalties, which can range from expulsion to job termination. For legal advice, consult a professional.
I wonder what Kentucky State's gun policy is. I guarantee it'll change. And that ain't funny, but yeah. Wow. Hold on. Let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit further. What is Kentucky State University's gun policy for campus?
Kentucky State University has a strict policy. It prohibits having any deadly weapons, including guns, on campus property. Violators face both school actions and legal consequences. For legal advice, consult a professional.
Wow. The school imposes the penalties of having a gun on campus? Wow, I didn't know that. The school. I guess you got schools where people hunt, and I guess you can have a rifle or something on campus, and that's kind of wild. I would think that with everything that's going on, that would be something that would be federally. They want to stick their hands in everything else. But even the state has no jurisdiction over the penalties of having a gun on a campus. The school imposes the penalty of a gun. So that's why he didn't get charged. That's why he didn't get charged. He didn't get charged because the charge of having a gun is up to Kentucky State University. Wow. That to me is an eye opener. That the school would have jurisdiction over the penalties of having a gun on campus. That's crazy. I don't know how nobody else feels about that, but that's kind of wild. So a person can have a gun on campus, and the university doesn't have to let the police. I think that has to do something with sports. I think that correlation of the university being over the guns, and that has to do with sports. That has to do with sports. That's crazy. That's why I said federal law. I thought it was a federal law that you couldn't have a. Wow, the school determines the penalty. And the state says that the school determines the penalty. Ooh-wee. Wow. Explains a lot. Explains a lot. This whole situation, I'm torn about the whole situation because I'm one that I'm a firm believer of protecting your children, protecting your family, but I also don't want to see no 48-year-old man killing a 19-year-old little boy. No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I hope that this does not become a norm. I hope that states take over the jurisdiction of gun penalties at universities. That's kind of crazy to know that, yeah, the universe, like I said, something can happen involving a gun on a college campus, and they don't have to let the police know. Think about that. Think about that. That's the last thing we're going to talk about tonight. Think about that. I think I'm going to leave on that note. Think about that. The school has jurisdiction over the state for the penalties of having a gun on campus. I think I'm going to have to dig a little deeper. I'm going to have to dig a little deeper on this one. That's crazy. That is crazy. That individual schools have the jurisdiction of gun penalties involved on their campus, which means that they don't have to let the police know that somebody on the soccer team, the football team, the basketball team had a gun. That is all about sports. And that's a topic for another day. Wow. just like I mean, they don't have to let they don't have to let the police know about a gun, just like they don't have to let the police know if somebody on the football team SA'd a girl. Think about that. And then on that note, we will continue this conversation. I never looked at it like that. But now, yeah, it makes sense. The campus doesn't have to let the police or anybody know anything because they'll handle it. The power of sports. No. That's not what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, Jeanette, I'm saying that if somebody on the football team or basketball team or soccer or women's team or any of that was to get caught with a gun, the school would handle that. They don't even have to let the police know. That's how stuff can get swept under the rug. Just like the schools handle it when there's something involving Title IX. They don't even have to call the police. I think that's something that needs a show dedicated to itself. Universities don't have to turn over individuals who are caught in possession of firearms on their campuses because they come up with the penalty.
Lab Addicts Music Group.
Allow universities to have jurisdiction over. I mean, it's got to be a lot of them because lots of schools have had SA allegations and things like that, and the police never finds out until way down the line. Universities have more power than we really thought. It's a sad situation. It's good that Mr. Barb gets to go home to his family. But like I said, he's got weight on his shoulders for the rest of his life. It's a sad situation where conflict resolution skills are nil and everybody has to go to a gun to solve their issues. Let's love each other. Let's not kill each other. Put the guns down. Put the peace signs up. This is your boy Maas. I will talk to you on Thursday.
Lab Addicts Music Group.